Hey guys, I'm Joe, and today we're going to talk about suicide. I know it's a word that sometimes just hearing it said out loud can make you cringe, but it's something I wanted to talk about because it's something that's affected me personally. It's something that's worried me personally. It's something that affects a lot of people, whether you're the one dealing with those thoughts or you're the one who has experienced a family member or friend or whatever. First of all, I'd like to say if anybody's watching this that actually is in the throes of that dark place right now and you're contemplating it right now, and for whatever reason, that's why you found this video. If you're in the U.S., get off here, call 988, call, a suicide prevention hotline. If you're in another country, Google, whatever it is, wherever you can get professional help, please do that. The fact that you're on YouTube searching videos tells me, you are wanting help. And that's the thing, is a lot of people that do commit suicide don't want to commit suicide. I know that sounds weird, but I've learned that through my own personal experience. And today I want to talk about ways, I don't know. I wish there was like this list I could give you. Here's 5 things to do and you'll never kill yourself. I wish it was that simple, but it's not. But I would, if there are people that if you search this video out, it tells me you want help. It tells me you're looking for answers. And I hope that maybe I can help you in some way. I don't know. Maybe I can say something somebody else didn't think of, or maybe, whatever that may be. I'm not a professional, but I've dealt with these thoughts myself, and today I'm going to be as honest as I can be, probably more honest than I've ever been, because this isn't something I enjoy talking about, for sure. But I've struggled with my mental health my whole life, and just in the past 6 years I've been getting, I kind of hit a rock bottom, and I had to seek professional help, and I got myself in therapy. I got myself, with a psych doctor or mental health nurse practitioner, whatever you want to call them. But and so that's an ongoing thing. I'm on medication. I'm doing good now for the most part. But there are still dark days. Unfortunately, they may never go away. I don't know. It may be something I always have to deal with on occasions. And I think that's the biggest key I want to talk about today, is if this is something you struggle with, then suicide prevention needs to happen during your good days. During your, because in your bad days and when things are at the darkest, that's when you're probably the least logical. It's probably when you're the least equipped to do anything to help yourself. It's extremely difficult. So in those good days is when we need to take steps to try to protect our future self from doing something that we otherwise would never do. Like I said, I'm not an expert, so I'm just drawing off of my own personal experience. And I myself have experienced 2 different types of, and let me be clear, I've never attempted suicide. So again, my own personal experience is limited. I've never gotten so far that I've actually attempted it, but I have been to the point where I was metaphorically scared to death that I was going to. So the 2 different types that I've dealt with was, one was not wanting to at all, being completely opposed to hurting myself in any way, and yet feeling drawn to it as if, I was going to do it anyway. And I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's like the only way I know to describe it is like jumping out of a burning building, because if there's no escape, there's no way down, and you're 100 floors up, and the room is on fire, and the heat is so hot and it's so intense, and it's either burn or jump. And that was how I felt. It felt I didn't want to jump out of the window. No sane person is going to jump out of the window, but when that heat is pushing you, and that, further and further towards that window to jump, and it kind of feels like you're being pushed out. That was the feeling I had. And then the other was, of course, the just bleak, dark depression and feeling of hopelessness, feeling of just, life's no longer worth living, what have you, and seriously contemplating it, and seriously thinking that maybe this is my best option. Those times when you stare at the means that would take you out, whatever that might be. For in my case, that would be a gun. And I've stared at that gun, and thought about it. And so now this video is not so much just for everybody else, but for me, myself. And these are things that I've done, things that I'm doing, and maybe it'll help you as well. First off, you want to know your warning signs. And that will vary from individual to individual. And I know that's sometimes hard to do, but maybe there's little things that you recognize that, oh, I'm about to spiral. Oh, I'm about to go down a dark hole here. This day's getting bleak, whatever it is, maybe I know for me, this can happen very quickly. I can go from a good day to bad very quickly on my own, no one around, just things can turn. And so it can be difficult, but if you can know that it's coming, if you can see any warning signs, then maybe it gives you a little time to implement coping strategies. So what are your coping strategies? Things you can do on your own. Think of things you can do on your own and what they might be. If you can see the warning signs early enough, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but sometimes just splashing some cold water on your face can, and I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but sometimes just something, just a feel, a touch to bring yourself back to reality. Go for a walk. And again, I almost hate saying things like this, because it sounds like the people who, their answer to you being depressed is you should go to the gym. It's like, if I could go to the gym, I probably wouldn't be depressed to begin with. But if there are things you can do on your own, do those things. However, this is where it comes in on the good days. Have a plan in place. And one of the important things is try to have a support network. If there is anyone in your life that you can talk to about this, talk to them on your good days, and make sure that that person is okay with being your go-to person. Being that person that when you feel it coming on, you can call, you can talk to. For me, it's my sister. My sister knows me probably as well as anyone. My sister doesn't deal with mental health problems herself. She doesn't fully understand what I go through. But she's always going to be there for me, and she's always going to listen to me talk. She always understands. And sorry, I had a message and was making sure that wasn't important. But yeah, so she's my go-to person. It would be good to have a couple of those, so you don't want to be in crisis mode and not be able to reach your go-to person. So try to have as many of those as you can. And I know it's not easy talking about these things with even the people we love the most. I know for me, I broke down just talking to my sister about it and kind of letting her know where I was. And again, maybe you could make a list, on your good days, when things are going well, when you're enjoying life. Sit down and write down some of those things that you love about life, some of those things that you find personally that makes life worth living. Write those things down. Keep those handy somewhere where you can look at it anytime you need to. The people in your life that may need you, people in your life that would hurt if you were gone, things you enjoy doing, things like that. Let's make that list on your good days so you can look at that when the crisis hits. And again, you want to have professional support contacts as well, if you can. And I know, unfortunately, I don't know how it is in every country, but I know in the U.S., getting health care is difficult. Getting health care for your mental health can be even worse. And so this isn't always an option. So try to, if you're in the U.S., remember, whatever country you're in, try to find out what is that suicide prevention hotline. Here in the USS, 988. So keep that handy and know you can call that at any time. If you can get yourself into therapy, if you can afford it at all, if you have the insurance that'll cover it, if there's any way to do that, please do that, because it will help more than anything. And there's not much substitution for professional help like that. And also, and this is probably one of the most important ones, you have to make your environment as safe as possible. For me, I come from a gun family. Guns have been in our family for years and years, and so I have never purchased a gun myself, yet I had, not a crazy amount, like not a crazy guy in his bunker amount, but definitely up in the double digits of guns. So for me, getting rid of these firearms, these hunting rifles mostly, some handguns, it was very difficult because I wanted to hold on to these things, yet I knew for my sake I was scared of what I might could do with those. And so, luckily for me, again, my sister being my go-to person on this, and she and her whole family are avid hunters where I'm not. And so I was able to pass down those, or pass over, however you want to say it. But I was able to give all those guns to her. And maybe it might be as simple as finding someone, if you have guns, maybe you want to find someone that can just keep them for a while, till you get in a better place, whatever it may be. Or you may, like me, you may have to get rid of them altogether to keep yourself safe, whatever you have to do. Medications, if you have a lethal amount of meds that you could take, maybe you need to have someone that can hold on to those, and where you could get, like, I have a 2-week planner. I can put my pills in, in my 2-week pill case, whatever, and then give the rest to whomever, that could hold on to those for you. Alcohol, probably don't want a whole lot of alcohol around. That's usually going to lead to bad things, and it's definitely a horrible mix if you're having any kind of suicidal thoughts. You don't want to pour alcohol on top of that, I can promise you that. Drugs, depending on what they are and how they affect you. I know for me personally, and this isn't for everyone, I'm definitely not giving advice, but for me, THC actually helps me. So a little marijuana actually on a bad day it actually helps me a lot, and it'll bring my mood back up, or at least it brings my mood up and it levels me out. And actually, I wish it was more readily available and legal, to where I could have it on hand at all times, which I pretty much do anyway. But yeah, that actually helps me. So that may be something you talk to your doctor about. I don't know. It's something I definitely have talked to mine about because it's something I do along with my meds. So I have to make sure that I'm not doing something that'll have a bad interaction with my meds. So definitely, if you are going to do something like that, talk to your doctor about it. There's doctors, trust me, do not care to talk to you about marijuana nowadays. It's, all of my doctors are very cool about it. And if you can think of more ways to prevention and better help, maybe leave a comment. If you have more words of encouragement or advice, maybe put that in the comments for other people to read. I would also say, you know how I mentioned earlier how people talk about, oh, if you're depressed, just go to the gym or go for a walk or do this. And you're like, if I could do any of that, I probably wouldn't be depressed. I will say this, those things do help. They help tremendously, but they're usually things you won't do. You're not going to start doing that during your darkest time. So what you could do is, if the gym does help, start going to the gym on your good days. And the more good days you have and the more good days you can compile and put together one after another, the more likely you are to avoid some of those dark days. So yeah, going to the gym could help. Going for a walk could help. Maybe you could get in a habit of taking a daily walk, whatever that may be. And sometimes, even when it's cold, those walks are really nice just to get outside. I can't tell you how much that helps. Just getting outside, just doing something fun. It doesn't even have to be fun. Just being outside, sometimes feeling that air on my face, touching earth, feeling real, feeling grounded. They talk about one of the coping mechanisms. I can't remember what it's called. Someone in the comments might can tell me. But whenever I'm about to have a panic attack, it's like find 5 things you can see, you can touch, and these are grounding techniques, I think is what it's called, something to that effect. So what I just said earlier. But sometimes things just as simple as that can ground you and kind of overcome that panic, that fear, that anxiety, that depression, whatever it is coming over you. And so again, so much of this depends on what you do on your good days. It's about suicide prevention. It's so hard to prevent it if you haven't done anything leading up to that. It's so hard when the days are dark, when those feelings hit you. It's so hard to pull yourself out. But if you have this plan that you planned and you planned and you planned and you put so much work into ahead of time, then you're much more likely to fall back on that plan in some way. So please, I encourage you, on your good days, and you're not going to feel like it, because the last thing you want to think about when you're having a good day is suicide, right? But you have to think about your future self and what you're doing. Please think about all the people. And I know sometimes it feels like no one cares, no one loves you, no one whatever, but I promise you there's someone somewhere that's going to miss you. There's someone somewhere that loves you. There's someone somewhere that's going to hurt and is going to cry and is going to be miserable if you're not here. So please think of those people. Think of all these things that you can try to do to help yourself. And again, I'm kind of preaching to myself here, because these are all things that I am currently doing to try to help myself and to prevent this from ever happening to me. I know for me, myself, it's my daughter. That's what keeps me here more than anything else. But I have to think one day my daughter will be grown. And if these things were to persist, I sure hope not. But it could be something I have to live with. It could be something that comes back and haunts me every so often, every few months. Maybe I have to deal with this. I don't know. But so I have to try to, during my better years, look out for my future self. And that's what I'm doing, and I hope you'll do it too. Thanks so much for watching. Share this video with anybody you think it might help, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.